Upfront and Outspoken with Bob Williams. If you love the Constitution,
man is not free unless government is limited.
If you love freedom,
as government expands, liberty contracts.
If you believe in personal responsibility, if you believe America is still the greatest nation on earth, then get ready for an experience you'll never forget. This is Upfront and Outspoken. Here's your host, Bob Williams.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
And welcome back. This is, of course, Upfront Outspoken. I'm your host, Bob Williams. Glad to have you along with me on this Tuesday. On the phone, I'm going to forego the weather because what we're going to be talking about is too damn important to be sitting on our fingers. You know where they're going to be going. On the phone with me, of course, is Ed Tyll, host of the Ed Tyll Show. You hear it right here all the way up until 4 p.m. this afternoon at the bottom of the hour. Once again, Ed, it is always an honor to have you on the show.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure. You got a great program. I love that you're doing this first thing in the morning before we begin, and I think the network really sounds terrific, so it's great to be with you, man. You know,
the issue that I really wanted to get you on about is coming up here in 7 days. Of course, we all know is the midterm elections. There's a lot of tight races, Kentucky, Colorado, Iowa. And I want to get your take on what you see is, I guess you could say, is going to be the primary focus for either party to pull these too close to call states out.
Okay. Well, I think you got two things that are at work right now, and the polling prior to the vote, I don't think reflects it yet. The first one is something that's been relevant every election since you and I were kids. It affected the outcome of the Kennedy-Nixon election, and that is turnout. You can have popularity, and you can be winning the public debate. Maybe you look better on CNN than the other guy, your party does, or a candidate does. If the people don't turn out in sufficient numbers that day, you can still lose an election when you seem to be the popular choice. So that's number one. Number two, off-year elections have a very interesting effect on working folks. For sure, you have to care this year because we're being attacked by ISIL, the Ebola and enterovirus, weather, all kinds of stuff that you cover every day. Those issues really, I guess, create a diversion. And for sure, even though people argue strongly about them and feel genuinely, they go to barbecues, they hang out on the weekend, when the voting occurs, when it actually comes time to vote, an off year is a very difficult year to get those people to actually cast the vote. They'll support you in the cafeteria. They support you at the gas station. They even give candidates a wave. When candidates in my district especially hit the street and go for the last-minute handshaking to really hope that they'll get you to vote. They're not trying to change your mind on direction, but to get you to vote. I think both of those factors are going to play in this year. So what does that lead to? I think it's going to be, this is where maybe I'm an outlier, right? This is where I don't agree with the conventional wisdom. I think it's going to be a very directly Republican win. There won't be, if the Democrats made a good run for it near the end, it won't be close. In the races that you and I are probably going to talk about, you can bring up your favorites, all of the close races, I don't think will be close on Election Day. If you remember, maybe I'll wrap up with this. You can ask me what you want in specifics, but just as a recent reminder, it was Barack Obama and Mitt Romney who were going nip and tuck. Last time I checked, that was not a squeaker. It looked like it on Fox. It was not.
Right.
Obama handily won. So I think you can expect Republicans are going to handily win based on what I see and those factors. And as I mentioned to you when we set up the interview, I also believe things will not move between now and election day appreciably. There can be a statistical change. I don't think there's going to be a sentiment change. And obviously, October surprise was Ebola. Ebola was the October surprise in retrospect.
Right. You know, the thing is, I've been watching these midterms and these contested states very, very closely. And, you know, in other states as well. I mean, you got Alaska, you got Massachusetts, you got several other states that are coming up for election. And it seems that from every poll that is out there, you're right. The Republican Party is indeed ahead. Do you think that the reason they are ahead is that the American people are fed up with the current deadlock on Capitol Hill, or do you think there's an underlying current?
I have a theory on this.
Go ahead.
They're definitely fed up, but they are so unwilling to use the Republicans as a solution. It's like when you're in the kitchen and there's nothing good to eat in the house. You're like, well, we had macaroni last night. I'm not making hamburger. You know, it's macaroni hamburgers. So this is unfortunately what the voters look at. They really are uncomfortable. You know, Obama has finally broken through, like many presidents in the past. His personality does suit some people. There are people that don't like leadership to be visible. But even those people who like low-key leadership are fed up with his choices. So that's the fed up I feel is out there. There are people who are fed up with this guy continues to choose his own style. That style hasn't worked. So people who agree with him politically right now.
Well, one thing that when you brought that up, we're hearing a lot of, and I know this is diverting from the issue, but is that the Obama administration has a quote-unquote czar to handle the Ebola situation, when in fact it seems that more and more people on Capitol Hill wanted the czar to be the head of the CDC, and now we got a politician. Is that what we're going to expect out of President Obama in the next couple of years? You know, a politician on an important issue?
Really put your finger on it. I think he's in the mood to do some paybacks. I think there are people who say, you know, Ron Klain really helped you in smoothing it over with Hillary, or really helped you pick up that state that you needed. I believe that's exactly what it is.
So basically, we're having people calling in debts.
Yeah, in other words, if you're winning, you get to do this. When it's good times, of course you throw your favorite guys into your favorite jobs. Every movie director says, I like to work with the actors that are friends of mine. Everybody likes to do that, but you got to be winning. If you're losing and your scoreboard looks bad, then you have to play the game in a way that includes your supporters.
Right.
You know, turn your back on them, then fail, then come back in and go, I need some more support.
Right.
I believe that's what's happening now. He's dying out there, but he does have political debts. This guy's the guy that got screwed over at the Gore election in 2000. Everybody who's in the Democratic Party feels that this guy got screwed over, Ron Klain. So this was a chance to let Ron Klain be a hero and do something good for the country. But it's too inside politics. It has nothing to do with Ebola. What does Ron Klain, ask yourself, right? Doctor or no doctor, that's what I go with. I don't. My original thing was, where's the Surgeon General? By now, everybody knows we don't have one.
Right. Well, that's because it's been hung up, so to speak.
Well, because the Surgeon General resigned. Let's put the blame where the blame belongs. The goddamn country asked you to serve. Shut up and serve until they replace you. Don't bail and let the president find someone. What kind of douchebag move is that?
See, now everybody wonders why I so much admire Ed, because he's very outspoken. He lives up to his name and his reputation. Now, the question, President Obama is at a 30% overall rating. Everyone knows that's low. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, that's lower than Reagan.
It's awful. It's embarrassing in a country like ours with the media we have. All right, go on. So now what?
All right, so what I was going to say is all these races that are so close basically told Obama, hey, we don't want you here. We'll take Clinton in here, as is going on in Kentucky. They took the Clintons in there, but when it came to President Obama, they told him, no, stay away, because if you come in, we're going to lose the election. If the Democrats hold, I'm going to put this both ways. I want to present this both ways. If the Democrats hold the Senate, what do you see transpiring from that side? But also, if the Republicans gain control of the Senate, which they also have control of the House, what do you see are some of the major things we're going to see as far as legislation-wise?
Well, come on, there's a big elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
They get the majority, and it's a workable majority. In other words, it's not a bunch of guys that hate each other, but they happen to be on the same team. They really come together in the first day after everybody's in. If that's the case, of course they'll take a shot at Obamacare. That's what you have to. You're almost bound to do it. If the Republicans have strength in both the houses, and he's on the ropes, they're duty bound. They're duty bound to take it. Ted Cruz will come at it with everything he's got.
Right.
Any smart anti-Obamacare person in either the House or the Senate right now is laying the groundwork for what if they win.
Well, we've already heard.
They win. They're going to look right now. Who do we need? How many votes? So I believe that's what you would see in the Congress.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe you're right.
At Obamacare.
I believe you're right. If
the Democrats, did you ask me? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to the Obamacare here if the Republicans gather. I believe you're right. They're going to dilute this thing down to the point where it's basically going to end up being useless legislation if the Republicans get in there. And I have my personal opinions about this, and people have heard it over and over again. I hope the hell they repeal this damn thing and start over. But now, if the Democrats retained control, are we still going to have the voting along party lines like it seems to be, and nothing getting done?
If they pulled off the miracle, if the Democrats held the Senate, every day of their lives will be, this is what we didn't give the Republicans. Thank God we stopped. That's all they'll talk about. Now, they'll get so crushed in the White House cycle, presidential cycle, if that's the case. If the Democrats found a way to hold this Senate, you're going to see the angriest, meanest Republican backlash yet. People say the Tea Party is, tough, and they can be mean. It'll get tough. So that's what I don't think it'll. I don't see the math. If I saw the math, I don't know if you ever take a look at Nate Silver. I love this kid. He goes on all the shows. He's been around a couple of election cycles, and he uses the same thing that they all use, Google and Uber. They use an algorithm to do predictions. And predictive behavior in politics, it works very well on an algorithm. So he's been very accurate. He, I believe, is showing a big sweep, that it will be a wave election like 10. If you remember 10, remember the feeling in 10 where you were surprised at how well it worked out for them? You're like, wow, they really, really got in.
Right.
Because people hated 2009. The summer of 2009 drove people crazy with that Obamacare argument. So in 10, it was a wave. I believe we're sitting on a wave. I believe the Democrats are putting up a good face because they know they're going to get waved. And I think it's embarrassing, so that's why everybody's making it sound in the media, there's some real competition here. I think it's like, did you see Alabama versus Texas A&M last weekend?
No, I didn't.
It was 59-3. And I'm like, can you imagine being on the team that's got the 3, and you still have to line up on the field, and you know Alabama's going to crush your ass, but you still line up and they crush you?
Right.
It takes a lot of courage. So I think that's what the Democrats have right now. They have nothing going for them but a little bit of courage. So, like, well, we're really going to do okay, and then they're going to get crushed 59-3. So
now,
go ahead. What's your next question? I'm watching the clock here.
Well, that's fine. A couple of local races, gubernatorial races that people are keeping an eye on. Number one is in your home state of Florida, and then the other one is up in Wisconsin. I'm gonna touch on the one in Florida. Why is this such a contentious race there for the governorship?
Florida is a big enchilada for either team that gets it, red, blue, Republican, Democrat, ever since I was a kid. Now, I will tell you something revealing when you're discussing Florida that I don't even remember, and I've been in and out of Florida since the 70s. When I first arrived, there were 6 million people. Right now, there's 19.5 million people. So right there, that's why politicians covet Florida. It will always be one of the great growth states of the country. It led the Sun Belt. Before people started talking about the Deep South as the Sun Belt, the first place the Sun Belt materialized was in Florida. So that's what they're going to be governor of. The fastest growing state, the people come from all over the world, and people come from all over the country, number one. Number two, it's a state with no income tax. There's only 7 left, but we have no income tax in Florida. That's why I love to bring the show here. Everything I earn while I'm here, hello. When I'm earning in New York, I get 3 tax bites. I got to give Uncle Sam, I got to give Mario Cuomo, I got to give Bill de Blasio. 3 separate tax bites. So why is Florida coveted? It's a what they used to use the term, a bellwether. If you check Florida, you can see what's going on elsewhere in places like Florida. So the race in particular, I hated Rick Scott in 2010. He was horrible as a candidate. You didn't know what you would get. Right now, he's a tiny bit better because he served for 4 years. But what did he get? He's got 600,000 new jobs in the state, and he promised 700,000. So his opponent thinks by saying he's 100,000 short, he's going to beat him. I'm like, are you crazy? This is like the guy who brought the ice cream to the picnic, and he ran out of ice cream. He's going to get more ice cream. I'm not going to go with a guy who's going to start with a new ice cream truck after 600,000 ice creams came out. So, same thing. The race is silly. Scott is an idiot. He says awkward, inappropriate things that make his enemies think he's a dummy. He's not that dumb. He's made a lot of money, but he's inarticulate. So you got another one in charge of an incredibly important thing and is a lousy communicator. So that's why, the thing with the fan was stupid. He should have handled that fan the opposite. He should have walked out and said, my opponent needs a fan because he's a hothead. That's fine with me. Boom, and gone right in. But he stood off the stage, and everybody made fun of it, and the kids in Florida make fun of the governor. So I believe the governor will win and get reelected, but once again, we're not going to be getting the best person. We're going to get some banged up, damaged goods. But I believe this election, if you're a Republican, it's going to be difficult to not win. You're going to have to lose it for yourself to not win. What was the other governorship you?
The other one,
Tom Tancredo came on in Colorado. I had him on the show like a year and a half ago, and nothing happened with that guy. He went absolutely nowhere, and he's a very common sense, straight shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado is another ambivalent state. It's like Barack Obama. Anyway, I'm looking at the clock. You wanted to ask me about anything?
Yeah, I want to ask you a real quick question. in the Wisconsin races between, I forget the lady's name, who's the Democratic, and up against incumbent Scott Walker. Now, Scott Walker has come under a lot of fire lately regarding campaigning. He beat out a recall election, probably the only governor that has. In that state, given the fact of Wisconsin's a high union state, do you see the Republicans retaining the governorship in Wisconsin?
Good question, right? Because wouldn't that be big? If they could get rid of Scott Walker after what he did with the unions, et cetera, wouldn't that be a huge victory for the Democrats? It would. I mean, they have not liked him from Jump Street. Yeah, good to have another shot at tequila, because it's not going to happen, Democrats.
I agree. Ed, I know you got to get ready for your show because you got about 5 minutes and you come back on, and it's always a pleasure having Ed on. Ed, I want to bring you back the day after election, and we can summarize what our predictions were in comparison to the real thing.
Sounds great, and I'll tell you what, Oklahoma is a fascinating state to watch. What do you think? Give me 30 seconds. It's 8:25, so we're okay. I got my stuff ready to go. My show starts at 8:30. Rock and roll. Give me 30 seconds on what is the essence of what the competition is about in Oklahoma. What is the issue?
The thing is that we haven't
vote or not vote over.
Yeah, we really haven't heard too much about the candidates. Senator Inhofe is up for election. And it seems from all the polls, his challenger is like almost 40 points behind him because he isn't an incumbent. And lately, as for quite a long time, Oklahoma has gone totally Republican. So we see that that's going to be the case again here. Is that Inhofe is going to retain his seat. So really, as far as the politics here in Oklahoma, what can I say? This is a state that's laid back, and people don't really stay on top of issues that matter most. The only issue that people got fired up at was when the Supreme Court refused to hear the case of the gay marriage, and Governor Fallon, she ended up biting her tongue because now gay marriage is now legal here in the state of Oklahoma, and I got a hunch that if they got anything to say about it, it's going to be challenged.
Do you think, really, you think they won't? Because a couple of states are abandoning their policy because of that decision. All right, you know what? That's what we pick up on next time.
All right, we'll talk to you right after Election Day.
I know, it's going to be a big to-do. I love Election Day. It's a great day to give the kids a lesson about civics. It's a very good day to illustrate how the grown-ups have to do stuff, because kids always think they're the only ones that have an obligation. So I like that. That's the part of it I like.
So don't I.
Yeah, we'll never be satisfied, but we do the best we can with who they give us.
Exactly. All right, Ed.
You're a big election guy. You vote. You go to the polls.
Of course, I have yet to miss an election since 1972.
Wow. All right, 70. I'm trying to. Mine was 76. So I did my first vote, I believe, for. Man, was it? No, it was Carter. Yes. I voted against Carter.
My first election, I voted for Richard Nixon.
Wow, you had a shot to vote for Nixon, eh?
You betcha. All right, Ed, we'll let you go. Get ready for your show.
You got it.
All right. That is done.
Radio Network.
Take care, Ed. Oh, wow. Great guy. Great conversation. Definitely looking forward to getting Ed back on here on the day after the election. And with that, it is time for me to get on out of here. Stick around, because coming up right after NPR News, the great Ed Tyll will be with you all the way until 4 o'clock. So until tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., this is Bob Williams. Take care of yourselves.